right now.
A man planning a racist attack is now facing child sex abuse charges. What Bexar County officials found, that's up next. And we have an update on Kirk County's budget for the upcoming year, what officials are emphasizing after the floods.
It is a warm start to what will be a hot day. A great pool day, though, for us this weekend, as many kids are celebrating their last weekend of summer before school starts for those folks next week. I've got your details coming up.
Good morning. It is 6 a.m. on your Saturday, August 9th. A lot of kids start school on Monday, so we're kind of just like relishing the last weekend of summer, even though we know it's really not.
It's going to feel like summer for a while here. And it's tax-free weekend, too, so a lot of people are going to be going inside for the AC to those many stores and things like that. But yeah, it's going to be a hot day out there. It is 78 degrees in San Antonio. Right now, it's 76 in Bulverde, 70 in Comfort, 72 in Kerrville, 74 in Uvalde, 80 already in Seguin, 75 in Floresville. And yeah, great pool day today. 100 degrees for the high temperature here in San Antonio. Could be our 11th triple digit day in San Antonio. Tomorrow, 98 for the high. Only a 10% chance for a coastal shower. But that does introduce the fact that we will have some small rain chances for the week ahead. About 20 to 30% chance, particularly on Monday and Tuesday. We'll talk about the reasons behind those rain chances, which areas have the highest chance for rain, and what you can expect as far as the heat index goes today. Details soon. Sarah.
Sarah, thank you. New this morning, this man on your screen that you're seeing is facing additional charges. So 39-year-old Nathan James Henderson first put behind bars for planning a racist terrorist attack. And now he's looking at a new charge for possessing child sexual abuse material. Last month, Henderson was arrested for having explosive making materials. Now the Bexar County Sheriff's Office says it found 548 files of minors on his devices. Well, this morning, we can now put the names of the faces of 117 people who were killed during the July 4th floods in the Hill Country. Kirk County released their names less than 24 hours ago. They were from Texas and neighboring states. 39 of them were children. As of right now, 2 people, an adult man and a camper at Camp Mystic, haven't been found. Right now on KSAT.com, we have the names and ages of everyone who died in those floods. You can scan that QR code you see in the corner of your screen, and we will take you to that article. Well, money is at the forefront of the discussion with Kirk County. The budget is a big part of how leaders plan to move forward after last month's flood, but leaders just released their proposed budget, and it looks like they plan to spend less. So the night team, Zaria Oates, looked through the budget, and she lays out where that money is coming from.
Kirk County's proposed budget for 2025-2026 is very similar to the current budget, but the county judge expects to spend $750,000 less than they budgeted for the current year. But this could all change over the next couple of weeks.
I have to file some kind of proposed budget. We can keep working on the budget, but I got to put something on file.
One of the big takeaways from this proposed budget is that they expect federal funding to increase by about $2 million. They're expecting an increase in FEMA funds because of the July 4th floods. And despite so much damage across the county, there is no proposed property tax increase.
Everybody is scared to death when I'm going to make a proposed budget that I'm going to do something hog wild and go out there and raise tax rates, 5-10 cents. And we never do it. We have never done it.
There is, however, an expected increase in revenue from property taxes. While the judge does not plan to increase taxes, the added properties in the county over the last year are set to bring in an additional $2.7 million. That's solely from adding more properties in Kirk County. The county is also budgeting to spend about $4.9 million worth of federal funds between the American Rescue Plan Act and FEMA. There is still a lack of clarity on how the budget could look when the time comes to actually vote on it, but for now, this is what the county judge has submitted.
But that's not going to be the final budget. We had to get more realistic.
The commissioners will have a workshop on the budget on August 13th and plan to have a public hearing on August 25th. Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
Aria, thank you. San Antonio police released video of Councilwoman Mesa Gonzalez's arrest. She was pulled over 2 weeks ago. So take a look. This is the footage that shows her denying she had been drinking multiple times during sobriety tests. She was pulled over on I-10 after leaving a downtown club. Today, Gonzalez has said she regrets not being more open with officers and apologized for disappointing her family and the community. She was booked on a misdemeanor DWI charge and released on a bond.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
I'm good.
Okay, how much have you had to drink tonight?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay, the reason why I'm asking, you realize you're back and forth in your lane, like you keep driving out of your lane and there's cars next to you? And I mean, you're a pretty big vehicle. I'm concerned about you and like the other cars.
That's San Antonio District 8 Councilwoman Ivelisse Gonzalez Mesa. That was the night she was arrested for driving while intoxicated. The IRS has started sharing taxpayer data with immigration officials to find undocumented migrants. So this began this week after pressure from the Trump administration. They're sharing names, addresses, and tax info to help track people facing deportation and criminal investigations. So this move has caused tension inside the IRS, with some officials worried it may not be legal. Several senior IRS officials have resigned or plan to leave because of it. And you'll probably pay more to send packages through the Postal Service this holiday season. That's according to a notice filed with the Postal Regulatory Commission. That Postal Service wants to temporarily raise prices on some services to cover extra handling costs during the busy season. The hike affects Priority Mail Express, Priority Mail, USPS Ground Advantage, stamps, and other products won't be affected. If the commission approves, the new rates would start October 5th, and they're going to last until mid-January. 607, 78 degrees. Texas Biomed faces funding cuts from mRNA vaccine research. Up ahead, we'll explain what this means for the future of vaccines and for the future of public health. And tax-free weekend is underway. What you need to know so you don't miss back-to-school deals. That's after the break.
And with live cam. Full moon out there. Pretty bright morning with that full moon and clear skies, but it's going to be a hot day with plenty of sun. Details soon.
So tax-free weekend officially started yesterday to help parents prepare their kids for the school year. So you won't get taxed on things like clothes, backpacks, and school supplies. Tax-free weekend runs through midnight on Sunday. You also get the discount if you shop online, as long as you buy from a Texas-based business. So keep that in mind. It has to be Texas-based. All right, 611, 78 degrees. San Antonio City Council is questioning Project Marvel's economic impact. After the break, we'll explain the confusing numbers and what they mean for the project. So the math isn't adding up, and that's what some city council members are saying as they try to pin down how San Antonio could pay for part of Project Marvel. It has to do with information they got from the planning firm CSL International. The city asked that firm to assess the economic impact of Project Marvel on the area. Last year, the firm said expanding the convention center would pump $27 million into the economy every year. But more recently, that same firm said that actual number is $108 million. Confused? Experts are as well. They tell us the numbers just don't make sense.
Did they make some computational error? Was it some sloppiness? Did somebody intentionally fudge the numbers by 4 times? I have no idea. But it's kind of scary.
CSL says the discrepancy is because of the changing scale of Project Marvel. City staff say they are evaluating what an additional analysis would mean for scope, cost, and timing of that project. The Texas Biomedical Research Institute on the city's far west side helped develop one of the COVID-19 mRNA vaccines that helped save millions of lives during the pandemic. And earlier this week, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of U.S. Health and Human Services, pulled $500 million in funding for vaccine research, specifically for vaccines that use mRNA technology. So I spoke with the president of Texas Biomed about what this means for the future of vaccines.
The news that we're going to block a Nobel Prize-winning technology, mRNA technology, for the purposes of vaccine, is quite disheartening to the entire biomedical and healthcare community.
Dr. Larry Schlesinger, the president and CEO of the Texas Biomedical Research Institute on San Antonio's west side, says cutting millions of dollars in funding research to vaccines, specifically mRNA technology that was used to develop the COVID-19 vaccine, will be a setback for life-saving research. He says we need to continue to move forward in vaccine development. Supporting it through federal funding is critical.
I'm interested in saving human lives, and an investment in all kinds of vaccine technology is an investment in public health.
Texas Biomed was instrumental in helping Pfizer develop the COVID-19 vaccine that used mRNA technology.
You know, one of the greatest victories of the current administration's past administration was Operation Warp Speed, where in 11 months, the mRNA vaccines were rolled out and put in the arms of people. The facts are there that this vaccine saved millions of lives in the U.S. and globally.
He says Texas Biomed won't be currently impacted by the $500 million cut, but Schlesinger says research on vaccines and human health will take a hit.
My bigger concern is with the next pandemic, and we have so much vaccine hesitancy and misinformation, that even less people will want to be protected.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary for HHS, says the reason for the cut is that the mRNA COVID-19 vaccine poses more risks than benefits. Schlesinger says that isn't true, and that rigorous scientific evidence backs that up. He says social media has played a big part in vaccine misinformation. He encourages the public to continue to listen to the scientists when it comes to life-saving research.
It's so important for people like me, a physician scientist, to keep telling the public that these are good elements to help us stay safe, and certainly our children to stay safe.
Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News. Sarah, like you said earlier, it is tax-free weekend. There's going to be a lot of people out and about. Pool sounds good. Splash pads sound good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yesterday, because it was my day off and it was very, very hot, I was thinking, what can I do with my little baby? I took him to Bass Pro Shop, Outdoor World. We looked at the giant fish.
It's a great place to bring a baby.
The taxidermied lions and things, and it was perfect. So find some air conditioning or find a pool, some way to stay cool. You can see that yesterday we got up to 100 degrees yesterday. It was our 10th triple-digit day for the year. It was up to 103, though, down near Carrizo Springs, and Laredo, 106. Laredo used to that kind of heat, though. Now, so that makes 10 triple-digit days. Here's how we're stacking up so far this year as far as our 100-degree days go. And this is each year since 2016. So the last 10 years, you'll notice that, I mean, the last couple of summers have been absolutely brutal. On average, we usually see about 18 100-degree days in a year. Last year, we were above that. But, I mean, it was just in 2023 and 2022 that we were dealing with some of our hottest summers on record. But it was just back in 2021 and 2016 where we saw less than average triple-digit days. We'll have to wait and see. Today is going to be close to number 11 for 100-degree days. We'll be at 84 around 10, totally sunny, 90 at noon. High temperature this afternoon of 100, feeling more like 102. So really not even much of a heat index value. It's not necessarily all that humid. It could be a lot more humid out there, but it is definitely going to be hot today. And then even by this evening after we see the sunset, still in the low 90s. So one of the last weekends of summer for many kids, it's going to feel like it out there. Now, the reason why it's going to be hot is because that heat high overhead, 100 in Sabinal, 99 in New Braunfels, 100 in Floresville, 101 in Uvalde, and 100 in Utopia. Let's take a look across the nation. You can see that it is fairly quiet for a good portion of the nation. That's because, again, that heat high right over the desert southwest. Take a look how hot it's going to be in some parts of the nation. 111 Palm Springs, 109 Phoenix, 100 in Albuquerque. It's going to be hotter in Abilene than here in San Antonio because they're closer to that heat high. And then there is that stormy low to our north. So some hail is possible for parts of Colorado and damaging winds for Iowa up to Wisconsin. That stormy low is going to help to break down this heat high a little bit. So that heat high moving off to the west, we're going to have that stormy low across the central plains and another low pressure system working its way off of the Gulf. That's going to open up a window for 1 or 2 showers for us here in San Antonio. We're going to call it about a 20% chance Monday and Tuesday as that stormy low meanders across areas in the central plains before the heat high builds back in by Thursday. Now, as far as rainfall amounts go, it's going to be very little here in south central Texas. Even the areas that are going to have rain, only a 20% chance for you to see rain in your backyard on Monday and Tuesday. So when we're looking at rainfall amounts, maybe up to an inch near Amarillo and up to an inch near Houston. But here in south central Texas, it's going to be very, very much a hit or miss situation. Only a 20% chance for you to see rain in your backyard. But with that heat high breaking down, we're likely going to stay below 100 degrees in the coming days. That's about the only positive thing with that rain chance as well for us. Otherwise, again, temperatures are not going to waver too much day to day. This is the hottest time of the year for us. Makes sense that we're near 100, but it could be a lot worse as we've seen earlier. I mean, again, 75 100-degree days in 2023.
Yeah, I'll take more 98s and 99s on that 7-day than those triple digits there.
But I will say, Sarah, I have noticed the grass outside starting to get a little brown and crunchy. I'm going to show you a comparison coming up in the next half hour.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. At 6:22, 78 degrees. The latest episode of Pickup Lines is out. We'll tell you about a judge here in Bexar County and how he looks at the juvenile system. This week on Pickup Lines, our Ernie Zuniga is sitting down with Bexar County Juvenile District Court Judge William Cruz Shaw. Since 2022, he has presided over the 436th District Court. He was born and raised in Houston by a single mom and admits to being a troublemaker as a kid, but later went to college and played baseball at Texas Southern. So Judge Shaw became an attorney after a stint in the Navy Reserves and was appointed to the bench during his first term at District 2 City Council member a few years ago. So he's presided over some high-profile cases recently involving local teenagers and talks about those tough decisions he's had to make behind the bench.
What makes the juvenile system different than the adult system is very rehabilitative. So that's always in the back of my mind. How do I get this kid back on the right track? How do we give them different options? And unlike the adult side, there's more players involved. So it's not just a DA and defense attorney. You got parents, you have counselors, you have juvenile probation officers. Right. You have everyone giving their insight. So it's like a plan put together by all these parties, and I just either okay it or I don't okay it, depending on what the recommendations are.
So in this episode, Judge Shaw also reflects on his decision making behind the bench and why he typically does not wear a black robe. You can watch the latest episode of Pickup Lines for free on KSAT Plus app. You can watch it now on KSAT.com. Just search Pickup Lines on our website. It is 6:27, 78 degrees. We'll be right back. Good morning. It is 6:30 on your Saturday. It is 78 degrees, August 9th. It is tax-free weekend. No, Sarah, you can stay over there. You don't have to join me at the desk. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was busy looking at some of the forecast models.
Sarah was supposed to join me here, and I was like, all right, she's not going to. I'm not going to bother her. She's busy because guess what? We have a really hot day in store for us, right, Sarah?
Well, yeah, maybe I'm not going to be super busy this weekend because it's going to be very similar to the last couple of weekends and last couple of days, hot, humid. But I was looking ahead toward about 2 weeks from now, checking in on the tropics. We'll talk about that in just a bit. In San Antonio, it's 78 degrees, 80 in Seguin, 75 in Floresville, 74 in Castroville and Canyon Lake. It is a great day to hit the pool. 100 for the high, southeast winds at 10 to 20, but just know that the UV index is going to be extreme today. Skin damage time within 10 minutes. And again, I was looking ahead to the tropics about 2 weeks from now. I'll show you those details and what we're thinking coming up in just a bit. Sarah.
Sarah, thank you. So next week, Uvalde County and the Uvalde School District are set to release records from the Robb Elementary shooting. That's supposed to include reports, videos, and 911 calls. This comes after years of legal fights and just weeks after a court ordered them to share the information. Families of the victims say they want the truth to make sure nothing like this happens again. The city of Uvalde already shared their records earlier this year, but some agencies have yet to do so. Well, temperatures are up, and the same thing could happen with your water bill. So San Antonio Water System is considering a rate increase. The utility company says it needs the extra money to upgrade wastewater centers and pipes that bring water to homes and businesses. SAW's last increase came in 2020. Since then, SAW says it invested $2.2 billion in improvements. This time, it's unclear by how much rates would increase. Before that happens, the SAW's board and city council, of course, will need to approve it. Well, this morning, a DeKalb County police officer is dead after a shooting Friday evening near Emory University in Atlanta. A suspect opened fire near the CDC in Emory, and police returned fire, killing that suspect. Residents were told to stay inside, and Emory warned students to run, hide, and fight. Meanwhile, the CDC campus was on lockdown, but no civilians were hurt, including kids at a daycare on site. The FBI and Georgia Bureau of Investigation are now handling this case. And Texas Democrats scored a win by blocking a key vote on Republicans' plan to redraw congressional maps. So some Democrats actually left the state to avoid the vote. This mid-decade redistricting is unusual and pushed by President Donald Trump to help the Republican Party keep control of the House in 2026. Democrats call it voter suppression, pointing to a map that splits a Democratic district into Republican areas. So Governor Greg Abbott warned lawmakers to return or face even more redistricting. The fight is echoing across the country, with Democrats saying they'll do the same if given the chance. Well, pet owners in the Hill Country should keep their animals out of the river water as for right now. So we spoke with Dr. Deb Zoran, the veterinarian from the Texas A&M Urban Search and Rescue Team. She warns that the water is still contaminated after the flood, and you might have seen search and rescue dogs working in that area. However, Dr. Zoran says those dogs that are specially trained and not at the same risk as everyday pets.
With resident animals, yes, people can let their dogs go in the water and then bathe them, but what they can't keep them from doing is drinking the water. That's not humanly possible.
So Dr. Zoran says if your pet does end up in the water, you should bathe them immediately to avoid getting contaminants in your home or on you. Checking in with your vet is the best next step. If you scan that QR code on your screen, you can find more tips in our full discussion with Dr. Zoran right now on KSAT.com. Well, we have continued reporting in the Hill Country since the 4th of July. We have met first responders from all over the nation. One of those groups is the United Cajun Navy. Our Courtney Friedman was lucky to be able to catch up with them this week. The United Cajun Navy began as a group of volunteers during Hurricane Katrina and became an official nonprofit rescue organization in 2015. Many of the volunteers are skilled responders with training either as military, firefighters, medics, boaters, or even dog handlers. A core group of the trained volunteers made it to the Hill Country the day of the floods, and they made over a dozen rescues. Then their job turned even more difficult, recovering those that are still missing.
You shift into the horrible job that not everyone could handle of recovery efforts.
Yeah, the recovery efforts definitely take your toll on people, and it's a lot of looking for what you really don't want to find but need to find. And so the team's going out with dogs. Dogs are just huge assets to it. And then our drone team's flying over top with specialized equipment
To learn more about what job they've taken on now and how they're training the locals for long-term recovery, head to KSAT.com or our KSAT Plus app. A song written in the aftermath of another infamous hill country flood is now helping some survivors cope with what happened July 4th.
Here everything is young and fresh. In the valley of the Guadalupe, here I live a happy life, feeling with every deep breath.
Well, these are just some of the lyrics to the song of the Guadalupe. Locals wrote it almost 100 years ago, originally in German after the horrific 1932 floods in the same part of the hill country. These historic documents were in a special cabinet kept for Pam Nelson Hart of Hunt to see one day. They were swept away on July 4th, but she found them in the mud and saw the song for the very first time.
Now after this flood, what does this make you feel?
It tells me that if they recovered in 1932, a difficult flood, people were lost at that time too. If they recover from that, we can recover. Yeah. So almost 100 years later.
So it gives you hope.
It gives me hope. It's possible.
There's more of the song lyrics and other historical treasures that Pam found after the floods. Just head to KSAT.com. In a heartwarming update today, right after the Hill Country flood, we are told about the Kerrville-based jewelry company, James Avery, and their goal to help their own community. So the store announced it would donate 100% of the proceeds sale from its Deep in the Heart of Texas charm. And then James Avery sold out immediately. Back orders have now been fulfilled. And today the company told us 100,000 customers bought the charms, which amounted to $7 million for flood recovery efforts. They are working with organizations like Samaritan's Purse and Mercy Chefs to help with 4 specific categories: emergency response and relief, food, shelter and mental health, schools, child care and elderly care, and community programs and economic rebuilding. Just as a reminder, a Together for Texas concert is happening soon to raise money in the flood aftermath. It's August 18th at the Tobin Center. That's here in San Antonio. All proceeds go to local flood relief efforts supporting towns like Kerrville and Comfort. Tickets start at $35. You can catch the concert live on KSAT 12, KSAT Plus, and online. 639, 78 degrees. Students are returning to the class in San Antonio, and we know the air conditioning could not be in the best shape. Still ahead, what upgrades SAISDs is saying they've implemented so far. Plus, we know about a charter school that abruptly shut down just days before the start of school. What we know coming up.
We are starting off near 80 degrees. It's going to be a hot day, close to 100 as we see the first light of day there. And have you noticed the ground out there is starting to get a little bit brown and crunchy? We once again need rain. I've got an interesting comparison to show you coming up.
Well, some parents are extra stressed this back to school season because they don't know where their kids are going to school. The charter school their kids attended just announced it's closing 5 days before classes were supposed to start. So we've been telling you about the confusion surrounding the Bexar County Academy. Parents were sent a letter saying, quote, "Our board of directors voted to voluntarily surrender the school's charter to the Texas Education Agency." So we spoke with the campus's principal on August 4th, who said at that time she herself was still trying to figure things out.
No answers. I don't know what's going to happen. And that's like God on this truth.
The letter that was sent out is dated August 6th, and then in the letter it states that they officially closed on July 31st. When you saw that, what was going through your head?
Why didn't they tell us ahead of time, especially not finding out until after August?
So, however, the Texas Education Agency, the board of directors of Academy of America, who held the charter to Bexar County Academy, met on July 24th, voting to close the school the following week. So it's not clear why there wasn't more notice to parents. The Bexar County Academy says if parents want to access their child's school records, they can call 210-432-8600, that number on your screen there. And the Texas Education Agency is also telling parents to visit Texas Schools or txschools.gov to find another school. And it's no secret SAISD has had some major HVAC issues, and now that students are set to return to class, the district says it's working on them. We followed up with the school district to find out what is the latest there. Several classrooms are getting their air conditioning upgraded. Many schools still use old systems from the 1970s, but recent bond money has helped fix that.
I'd say we probably have about 20 campuses that, will come and approach end of life cycle within the next 2 years.
So far, 41 campuses have seen improvements, with more on the way. This year, students at Lanier and Edison high schools will enjoy cooler classrooms, and Highlands is next. District leaders say these upgrades, they take time, but they're committed to making schools more comfortable for everyone. Meanwhile, districts are in the process of creating their own cell phone ban. Last week, Governor Greg Abbott signed a law banning cell phones in the classrooms, but districts don't have all the time to implement it in the same way. Our Madeline Lambert gathered a majority of San Antonio area districts' responses to see how each will create their own policy.
Texas will join several districts across the country in banning cell phones in schools starting this fall. We reached out to more than 20 districts in the San Antonio area to see how they plan to implement the new law. Here's what you need to know. The new law allows some flexibility. Each district will implement their own unique cell phone ban, and most districts we spoke with say that students may bring a phone to school. However, all cell phones and communication devices must be powered off and out of sight during the school day. This includes headphones and smartwatches. If parents need to get in touch with their child, districts ask that parents call the front office at their school. Alamo Heights ISD, for example, says cell phones must be put away, and tablets and laptops, they're no longer allowed. Northeast, Northside, and San Antonio ISD plan to discuss their cell phone ban policies over the next 2 weeks in a district meeting. Madeline Lambert, KSAT 12 News.
Well, the first day is back to school is just around the corner, and a little planning now can save a lot of stress later. Our Devin Karp found some ways to help kids and parents feel ready and excited about the school year.
Summer might not be officially over, but school principal Mark Cernatinger is already working to make the first day back to school smooth for everyone.
As a principal and as a dad, I know how hectic that first week of school can be.
Morning, boys. Welcome back to school.
So it really helps to have a routine in place to reduce stress.
One of the most important steps, getting back on a regular sleep schedule. You can help your child get ready by moving their bedtime about 15 minutes earlier each night until they reach their regular school routine.
Try to shut down screens at least an hour before bed. Both the light from screens and the stimulation from devices may make it harder to fall asleep and worsen sleep quality.
Simple steps like picking outfits the night before and starting the day with a healthy breakfast can help kids feel calm and focused throughout the day.
Having a nutritious breakfast that includes lean protein, whole grains, fruit, or even vegetables can help keep blood sugar levels steady, so your child can concentrate better and have more energy throughout the day.
Same goes for lunch. Try sliced grilled chicken on whole grain bread, baby carrots, and some berries with water to drink. Make sure your kids are up to date on their wellness visits, sports physicals, and vaccines. If they're starting middle school, they may need TDAP, HPV, and meningococcal shots. And don't forget the flu shot, best before the end of October. And if you're worried about the first day jitters, visiting the school early or planning a play date with a friend from their new class can help ease the nerves.
Another tip, having a healthy after-school routine can make a big difference. Make sure to set aside some time for a healthy snack, homework, and some play or downtime can all help kids find a balance. I'm Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks so much, Devin. Hey, Sarah, have you noticed that you haven't had to do your lawn as much anymore because the grass is not growing as tall as it was earlier?
Yeah, but I did have to water. I had to do a deep watering.
Yep. On your water day?
Yeah, by hand. No, I do hand watering.
Yeah.
I don't have an irrigation system. I don't believe in that. But I had to do, it's been like 30, 45 minutes out there hand watering all my individual plants.
We're starting to get back into that like typical summer pattern where the ground and the grass is starting to get brown and crunchy. You got to be on top of watering your plants. And I think this shows it really clearly. So what I'm showing you here is a satellite comparison between July 10th and yesterday, August 8th. So July 10th, again, just right after those floods, here's what it looked like from space. Take a look at all of that green that you see on your map. Look how green and lush all the vegetation is. Even the Gulf, you can see here, is a little cloudy from all of the water runoff from all of those floods through the rivers. And then this is yesterday. Wow, look at that. A lot more brown. Isn't that crazy that we can see that from space? So just again to compare, here is right after the floods. You can see just how green everything was. And then yesterday, really starting to dry out. And we really are starting to dry out around San Antonio again. So nice and green, and then brown and crunchy. That's the way my grass is, at least outside of my house. And you can see that we are still under some extreme drought conditions in San Antonio, with exceptional drought expanding out toward Hondo and Del Rio. So we need some more rain, and our rain chances in the coming days are few and far between. We really are only going to have a small 20% chance for a few downpours on Monday and Tuesday. Definitely not enough to help us out with the drought situation, and definitely not enough to really allow for that vegetation to come back until potentially about fall. So we'll keep you posted. Otherwise, the forecast calls for mostly sunny skies, 84 around 10. Around noon, that's when it'll be close to 90 degrees in San Antonio. And then by about 4 or 5 o'clock, we'll hit our high temperature of 100 degrees. Today could likely be our 11th 100 degree day of the year. We had number 10 yesterday, forecasting 100 in San Antonio, 103 in Del Rio, 103 in Cotulla, 105 in Laredo. So that heat high is going to break down in the coming days with a stormy low across the Central Plains, producing some potential for a few downpours. Again, about a 20% chance on Monday and Tuesday. Otherwise, a heat high is going to be building in, and we'll be looking at temperatures back toward 100 degrees. So this is what I was looking at. We have got a 40% chance of development off of the coast of Africa for a low pressure system to easily become a tropical storm or a hurricane. The thing is, we aren't really looking until August 15th through 22nd for anything to impact the United States, and it could be anywhere from the Gulf all the way up into areas in the northeastern Atlantic. That is a huge spread of what's possible. So we're going to keep you posted. Again, about 2 weeks from now, that's when we would potentially be having an impact from a tropical system in the United States. Otherwise, again, it's going to be status quo here. High temperatures near 100, small chance for rain Monday and Tuesday.
My parents are coming in this weekend. We're going to spend some time at the Hyatt Hill Country. And
oh, good.
I think it's going to be packed for back to school.
It really is.
Like the last hurrah weekend, but at the same time, it's a nice pool.
And a nice way to stay cool, absolutely.
Yes.
So find a pool, find a splash pad, something this weekend.
All right, thank you, Sarah. It is 6:53 and 78 degrees. Let's take a look outside with the roads at TransGuide now that the sun is up. People starting to slowly travel, wake up and maybe, hey, head to San Marcos for those outlet malls. I'm sure they're going to be packed. The outlet stores will be for back to school, and so will North Star Mall. Maybe get your start early. And if any big incidents happen on the roads, we'll let you know about them.
It's that time of year when things are pretty similar day to day, and you can see that on the forecast. Near 100 degrees, just a small chance for a stray shower or storm Monday or Tuesday, but it is also that time of year where the tropics start to heat up. So we are your weather authority, and we'll keep you posted as we look ahead the next maybe 2 weeks for the tropical situation.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah. Good Morning America's next. Don't go anywhere, though, because we'll be back here for more local weather and news at 8 a.m.